in this area. Because from what I understand now, even though it costs more to use excessive water, there are households that will just go ahead and water and water and water because it doesn't matter, they can pay it.
I think that on the whole though, and we've heard, I think now 2 years in a row, that people are conserving so well that we don't have enough money to pay our debt. So they're correct. So we've learned how to conserve so well.
Some people.
But that's overall.
Right.
So there are those maybe that do overspend, but then overall we have not spent enough or used enough water to pay the debt. So therefore we have to increase the water rate.
And the other thing is that we cannot.
So we might have already answered that question.
We can't conserve our way out of this problem.
Exactly. Exactly. And
well, that was a separate question, not to get distracted with your issue, which is something else. I just wanted to know if we should have a question, if people thought the rate structure should be increased to make it, to strengthen the discouraging.
You certainly have to explain to them what the rate structure is, because I don't know what it is.
Well, you had it in the last questionnaire.
Yeah, I don't know what it is today. It's changed.
Oh, yeah. I know, you didn't have it as a specific, but you just said rate structure, you know, the current rate is now structured to discourage excessive water use. Do we think it needs to be strengthened in that area?
And they have done that over the last 10 years.
Right.
Yes.
I guess the question is, do we still think it needs to be? That's what I'm asking.
I guess what I was saying was, I think the question's already been answered because overall, people are using less water. People are conserving, which to me says, I know personally, because it's so expensive, I try not to use as much water. So I think the rate structure has worked overall because people are using less water. There's no other explanation.
It does, but if you were to ask me, I would say, yeah, the top end ought to be increased. You know, into the excessive it should have a sharply, you know, that would be my, you know, I would actually answer that, yes, I think it should be heavied up so that excessive use gets a higher charge than now.
Yeah, I just think it's that we're getting way too detailed for a comp plan. You know, that's something for a more managed study than a comp plan. I mean, I think the town and water and sewer commissioners, that they deal with that issue on once a month.
Okay.
What's our rate structure? How much money do we have? That's an ongoing process. If we even, and then further, if we ask the question, we're only asking the question of the people who pay a town water bill.
Okay.
We're excluding half the population.
Okay, all right. Point well taken.
In that regard, isn't 6B, shouldn't that be require water restrictions for all property owners? Isn't that the intention of that question? That
yes, I see what you're saying.
Restrictions across the island.
Yeah.
And I only had one other question after that. And that was in the very beginning. You lumped everything under water resources and I guess I wondered whether the first two questions, which actually were a compilation from the previous comp plan, whether we should take out, you know, when you say, how do you feel about having clean marine, freshwater, and groundwater resources? The groundwater resources feels like a politicized issue to me, and I felt like it belonged below the paragraph into the water quality paragraph.
These are just pulled. These are our goals.
Right, but they're not exactly pulled because you lumped groundwater in with marine and freshwater. So I wondered, this is my question, and I'll just put it out there, to relabel it coastal resources, have the first two questions as you have them, eliminate groundwater resources, and just deal with marine and freshwater, and then put another question about groundwater after your long paragraph.
So in the coastal section, the only thing we would have on there is goals.
Yes, well, yeah.
Goals. There would be no questions.
Right. Well, do you still agree with these goals? And then you'd have water resources in front of your paragraph, and then put the groundwater resource under that. How do you feel about the following goal in the community, you know, or skip it because you've got quantity and quality questions.
I'm confused now.
I
thought I knew what you're saying. You want to put that coastal resource. Can I finish?
Yeah.
You want to put that coastal resources section back in there.
Yeah.
And would have the first two goals stuck under there, correct?
Except for the
groundwater. And then you wanted
resources.
Freshwater resources, and that would be under there, correct?
Yeah.
And that third one would be under there.
And then, yes, yeah. And then then water resources and the groundwater would be under that one.
You want to split up that first goal, you want to split that up into two goals?
That was...
But this is the goal, it's just completely stated. That is the way it's stated in the comprehensive plan.
Well, in the last survey, it's separated, so if you had, maybe you had done something to it then, but in the last survey, you said, how do you feel about,
I'll check it. I think it's just pulled right out of the comp plan as it is.
the water resources goal is only islands, marine, and freshwater resources. That's the goal there, so maybe it's just slightly restated, so yeah, check it. But I guess what I'm wondering is putting it back to coastal and then water resources.
Are you looking at the comp plan or the previous survey?
Previous survey.
Okay. This is stated as it is in the comprehensive plan.
The previous survey then isn't, apparently.
Well, that was before the comp plan was done. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, anyway, does that make sense to have those two questions deal with coastal water and then deal with water resources? I guess I felt like a little flag about groundwater being politicized and being more of a quantity and people worried about, you know.
But the goal is to have clean, all of the
Okay,
above.
all right. All right. Nobody else apparently sees it that way, right? Okay. Never mind.
Okay, anything else on that section?
I have some. In the last survey, you did ask about separating the responsibilities for the Water and Sewer Commission from the Town Council. And I was wondering if perhaps because the rate structure has changed so significantly over the last few years with the improvements that you might want to ask that question again. And maybe even preface it as saying composed of people who are water and sewer users. Having a user's board for.
What were the questions again?
Would you, the town council is also the water and sewer commission and makes all decisions relating to public water and sewer. The last survey said, are you in favor of the situation as opposed to forming a separate commission? I would say something like, would you be in favor of proposing a separate commission comprised of people who are water and sewer users?
That might be a good question, but it's not something that I would support.
I guess I'm wondering, didn't the town just go through a whole town charter review and they
Yes.
addressed that issue?
I thought they did, and Aaron pulled the referendum questions for me, and that was not one of them. I thought the same thing.
It's been shot down 2 charter commissions.
Yeah, I know we've talked about it multiple times, but it didn't get a good response to my recollection.
It was recommended by the charter commission 2 commissions ago.
Yeah.
To the council. I think the second thing was, and Bill Julio and I were on the council then, and they took it off the referendum, and it happened again, and it was defeated twice.
Oh, so 2 charters have actually recommended they be separate. Then that actually gives some validity to Susan's point that maybe it should be in there, a question about that.
Do you have the responses from the last survey in front of you?
Yeah.
Yes.
What's the
What
question?
was the response?
It's the question was, are you in favor of this situation, meaning that both be together? And it was 40 yes and 37 no.
That was really close. I don't know, it's up to you all.
Yeah, 47, right, and 20 not sure.
Well, I think it's just that, you pose a question, and it is true, because I was on Charter Review Commission, that we did suggest that as a possibility to the town council. The town council has that authority now, and they also have the authority not to put it as a referendum question.
I think it's a valid question.
Can I see a show of hands, who wants to have it?
I would.
Yeah, I'm pretty biased, but.
Right.
4. Under 4?
All right, we'll put it back in.
One item, minor, number 7. I think it's too simply stated.
Which number?
Number 7, having said on a couple of applications now where we had a hydraulic just state that I think there's an uneducated